How do you know your meditation is working? I think that might be the number one question a lot of newbies have. In fact, when I started experimenting with meditation using mobile apps, I wondered, am I doing it right? Is it working? Because the ultimate goal of meditation is to induce a mental state in which certain brainwaves are more dominant than others. For example, you don't want to have a lot of beta and gamma activity. Those are some of the higher frequency brainwaves. Instead, you want to see alpha, delta, and theta waves dominate, because those are the slower waves indicating light to deep relaxation. And so in this video, I'm going to introduce you to Muse S. It's a brain-sensing headband that uses wearable EEG technology, normally only found in laboratories, to give you real-time feedback on brain activity. So let's talk about how it works. Well, Muse has 7 finely calibrated EEG sensors, 2 on the forehead, 2 behind the ears, and 3 reference sensors that can detect and measure brain activity. Muse also has a PPG sensor, which is a fancy word for an optical heart rate sensor, that can measure heart rate and give you an idea of how calm your nervous system is, because the more relaxed you are, chances are the slower your heart beats, especially in comparison to your baseline. And in addition to that, the sensor also has an accelerometer and gyroscope built in that can measure how fast you breathe. So every time you inhale and exhale, you move your body, and the very sensitive sensor can pick that up. And those sensors obviously also can, measure regular body movement. So if you move your head, if you, move your entire body, it can pick that up. And that's important because while movement might be perfectly fine during walking meditations, it's probably better to be still when you sit down or lie down and meditate in a traditional way, especially if you're new to meditation and you really need to focus as much as possible on not letting your thoughts creep back in, right? So let's talk about the sensor or the hardware a little bit before we jump into where all the magic happens, and that's really the app. But the hardware consists of a headband that you can replace if need be. I've had mine since, I think, 2021. So it's been a couple of years that I've been using Muse on and off, and my headband has held up really well. But in case, it wears out at some point, you can replace it, because the sensor is attached via magnets to the front of the headband. So you can keep the sensor and simply replace the headband if need be. It can be charged via USB, micro USB that is. The battery lasts for approximately 10 hours. So you can get easily through a day's worth of meditation and even a sleep session. So very solid hardware, easy to charge, easy to use, very comfortable to wear, also important, especially if you use it for extended periods. But what about the science? There is so many gadgets on the market that I've been using and reviewing, and a lot of them really don't have a solid scientific background and studies that show the efficacy of the device. Well, Muse is different. There are over 200 published research studies that back up the science behind Muse in terms of how accurate it is to measure brainwaves, one of the most important aspects of an EEG, obviously, but also the benefits. And Muse is trusted by institutions like Harvard, NASA, and the Mayo Clinic. So there are a lot of research institutions leveraging Muse because it's such a convenient way of recording brainwaves, especially if you're outside a traditional lab environment where you can, hook yourself up to electrodes and, be more stationary at the end of the day. But if you want to use it out in the field, maybe in larger studies that involve users that, are at home and not in a laboratory most of the time, it's really convenient to use something like Muse to get accurate readings and accurate results. Now, all the magic, or a lot of the magic, at least from an end user perspective, happens in the Muse app. So it's a mobile application that connects via Bluetooth to the hardware. And what's really cool about that app is it's packed with over 500 meditation sessions, many of which are guided. So, there is someone helping you or guiding you through the meditation. And you can use it for, anything from reducing stress to anxiety to improving sleep. There are a lot of different categories of sessions that you can choose from to help you get started. But what's cool is, and that's really arguably the unique selling point of Muse, is while you do those meditation sessions, the hardware, meaning the headband, records your brain activity. After each session, you get detailed feedback on how calm your mind was, what your heart rate was like, what your respiratory rate, meaning your breathing rate, was like, how still you were. And that can really help you get an idea of how effective the meditation session was. Because if you see that and obviously if you're an experienced meditator, you know that if you start drifting and you start thinking, during the meditation. But if you're new to it, sometimes you don't even realize that you started thinking about stuff, maybe the things around you, maybe, your to-dos that you have to accomplish during the rest of the day, etc. But then you can see it at the end and see exactly how calm you were and how effective the meditation session is. And it can give you kind of clues on how you can improve, and especially if you go through some of those guided sessions where they really walk you through, how to breathe during meditation, how to experience your body, what to look for, how you should feel, etc. All of those things can really help you to become better at meditation and reap more of the benefits, right? But arguably my favorite feature of the Muse system, the combination of the sensor as well as the mobile app, is the biofeedback meditations. And what that means is that the app can give you real-time feedback on your heart rate, on how calm, on your brain activity, on how calm you are, etc. So just to give you one example of how this works, during one of those biofeedback meditations, you can pick a soundscape or a theme that could be a forest, could be a beach where you hear like waves rolling on the beach. Depending on the type of biofeedback meditation, there is one for the mind, for the heart, and for other areas of your body you might want to focus on. But one of my favorite one is the one focusing on the mind. So if I, for example, have the rain soundscape and I start my meditation session, then based on my brain activity, based on how calm I am, the rain is stronger or less strong. If my brain is really active, if I'm thinking about a lot of things that I shouldn't be thinking during the meditation, I can hear very heavy rains, like thunderstorms almost. But as soon as I clear my mind, get calm, then the rain is getting more and more gentle and I can barely hear it anymore. Actually, to a point where I might hear birds chirping. That's like one of the indications. The birds are always an indication that your mind is very calm. And so you can tell in real time if you're doing it right or if you're maybe not quite there yet because you haven't figured out how to calm your mind. There are many different types of biofeedback meditations. I really like the one with the mind, but there is one that I did a while ago focusing on my heart rate. I would hear like drums beating in the same rhythm as my heartbeat. And the slower the drums would beat, that's was an indication that my heart was really low and getting to resting heart rate. And as soon as I, maybe thought about something that might increase my heart rate, I could hear it by, the rhythm of the drums increasing, as well. And so that's really, really cool and one of the key and unique features that Muse can offer. But the question now is, well, what benefits do you get from all of that? Well, to be honest, all of the benefits of Muse really go back to the benefits you can achieve from meditation and mindfulness. So Muse doesn't anything above and beyond what you can achieve with meditation and mindfulness, but it really helps you be more efficient and reflect on how what you're doing is working. But generally speaking, some of the benefits you can expect from meditating and using Muse to meditate is reduce stress and anxiety. That's really the main thing for me. I have a stressful job, I have a lot going on, and sometimes I get overwhelmed, and so whenever that happens, I leverage tools like Muse and, breathing in combination with Muse and meditation to really calm myself down, to settle down, to clear my head, and to be less stressed and anxious overall. Muse can also help you improve your stress resilience. So that's your ability to deal with those stressors you can either not avoid or mitigate otherwise. So your body then perceives certain stressors less of a negative stress, but more as a positive stress, to convert basically something that might otherwise derail you into something that can motivate you to do better, to feel better, and to handle the situation overall just better and more efficiently. Muse can also help you improve your cognitive performance because whenever you meditate, whenever you practice mindfulness, you can actually build new neural connections, and that helps your brain perform better and maybe even mitigate some of the cognitive issues and cognitive decline that you might experience with age or due to other lifestyle factors. Muse can also help you improve your heart rate variability, or HRV. That's really something that really goes back to mitigating stress and improving your stress resilience and reducing stress overall. Whenever stress is low, whenever you get out of that fight or flight mode, your HRV goes up. And that's generally a good thing. And I've talked about HRV a lot on my channel, on the podcast, as well as on my blog. I'm going to link some of those resources down below if you're interested or intrigued on what HRV means and why you can benefit from increasing it. And meditation is one of the ways that you can leverage to improve your HRV. In addition to that, there is also growing research to suggest that mindfulness meditation can improve your cardiovascular health, help with OCD treatments, with Alzheimer's and other mental disorders. So it's a very powerful tool if you or someone in your family suffers from any sort of cognitive or mental disorder. It can also improve sleep, obviously, and that again goes back to the less stressed you are, especially leading up to nighttime. The better you sleep, the quicker you fall asleep, the more deep sleep you get, and the better your sleep quality is overall. It can also prevent or mitigate burnout or reduce the risks of burning out. And again, all of that really goes back to stress and anxiety, improving stress resilience. And that's all based on science. And I'm going to link the page that shows all of the scientific research down in the description. You can check that out and read more. But science is one thing. What about regular users? What benefits have I seen? Well, from an overall Muser's perspective, meaning the users that leverage Muse, and Muse has logged like almost 6 million meditations so far, across its user base. 77% of users felt they had a better handle on their stress, which is not surprising because that's exactly what meditation does and mindfulness as well. 78% of users reported being more calm and relaxed, and 72% of users reported better focus and clarity, and 71% reported having better emotional regularity. And I think that goes back to having improved stress resilience to handle stressful situations better so they don't derail you from an emotional perspective. And 20% showed improvement in sleep quality. And that's super important because I think most of us can benefit from improved sleep quality, just considering all of the stuff that we're exposed to that are detrimental to our sleep. Caffeine, alcohol, stress, artificial lights, etc. So we all can benefit from better sleep. Now, what I've noticed with meditating, that every time I practice, I go through a session, I use Muse, and I usually, very often I do the biofeedback because I really want to hear during the meditation already, how am I doing? And it kind of always reminds me to, settle down and reel it back in if my head starts drifting or if my thoughts starts drifting. And I've noticed that anytime I get up, I just feel more relaxed, I feel better, and I handle the rest of my day from a stress perspective significantly better. So it's almost like a reset. So I kind of like doing it, like half day or in the early afternoon when I already had a lot of stress built up, from work, from parenting, from raising animals, etc. And that gives me a good reset so I can handle then the rest of the day much better, calmer, and with more patience. And that's especially important with kids and animals, right? Now, one thing that I've noticed that's very easy to get into is to make meditation a chore, a have to, and when you do that, I think it's significantly less effective. You really need to see it as an opportunity to relax, as something you're looking forward to, rather than, let's check off those 10 minutes of meditation really quick so I'm done with it. I've done this too, not only with meditation, but with cold plunging and sauna bathing and exercise and many of the other beneficial things that I can do to improve my health overall. Really make sure you enjoy the process, you set time aside for it, and you don't stress out about what's happening next. That's very important. Now, from a pricing perspective, there are two ways on how you can acquire Muse. You can just buy the hardware only or the device only. It's $399.99 as of this recording. Or you can bundle it with a 1-year premium subscription, which is really what I would recommend. So you get all of the different sessions, guided and unguided, and you can really drill down on the ones you like. Maybe, if you do the guided ones, there are certain voices that you might like better than others, be it male or female or whatever the case might be. So I encourage you to explore the premium subscription so you get all of the content, and that costs $444.98 as of this recording. So you pay, let's say, $45 more to get 1 year of premium subscription in combination and with the hardware. Now, I have a discount code for you, mkummert. I'm going to link it down below so you can use this. But the bottom line really is, Muse is a very powerful and accurate gadget that can help you get started with meditation if you're new to it, or improve your meditation performance if you're already somewhat experienced. And even if you're incredibly experienced meditator, I've heard from many that have been meditating for a while and they always thought everything was, they did it right. And then they figured out based on the brain activity that they never really got very far into those slower brain waves, and with Muse, you can tell if what you're doing is right, if it's working, and if you're getting the most benefits out of it. So I would encourage you, even if you're an experienced meditator, give Muse a try it out, verify that what you're thinking is actually happening based on your brain activity. And after all, make meditation and mindfulness a regular part of your self-care routine. It's super beneficial. It helps a lot. It's relatively inexpensive to do, not very time-consuming either. 10 minutes a day can really help a lot. Give it a try. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, stick around, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions, concerns, or just how you like the video. Always love to hear feedback. Until next time.